Just checking on YouTube and Facebook if we are live. It might take a few seconds. Let us know in the live chat if you have audio and if the audio is okay. Hi, Jim. Jim, say something. Oh, Jim?
Oh, hi. Sorry, I had you on mute. Hello to the Atheist Republic.
Let me see if it's gonna come. Let me see if your audio is coming through. There we go. Yeah, everything is good. So hi everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the news regarding religion and atheism and secularism and everything else you guys recommended to us last week on the YouTube chat or YouTube comment section. I have Jim here with me. Hi Jim.
Hi Armin.
So Jim, you're going to keep an eye on the live chat from YouTube, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
I'm going to keep an eye on the Facebook live chat here. I have that on my phone in front of me. If you get any super chats or anything like that, please. Coming in clear. Ryan in the Facebook live chat. Jason. Hey, hi Jason. Hi Ryan. Good. So we have that going. And also, by the way, before I move forward, I first want to thank all the new patrons we're getting. I don't know how to thank you guys. You guys are awesome. We're at now to 76 patrons, and we really do need it. We're trying to reach 100 patrons. I'm just going to quickly thank the new ones that we got. We really do need these because we're running out of money. So far, everything we've been paying was out of pocket. The donations would never matched the expenses that we had for all our crew and all our expenses. But now we're getting close to being able to afford everything. We think if we get to 100 patrons, we will be able to afford everything. So we're at 76 now. I'm just gonna thank our new patrons. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. By the way, one person I mispronounced last time was Freethinker215. So thank you, Freethinker215. Nicholas Bianchini, Gabriel Gonati, Chabisemi, Robert Macy. Sorry if I'm reading this wrong. Thomas, Jackie Fox, Ann Davis, Elizabeth Alstad, Pascal Luce, Bias Lemmings, Peter something, Manilin, Marcus, Jam, Ben Helm, John Temple, Mojito Ado, Helen Hinan, Habibul Mumin, Philip Miller. Wow, we have so many new patrons. Thank you so much, guys. James Quigley, William Lamb, almost done. Samantha Jackson, Dinesh Kumar, Jeff Sable, Marian Rocha, Margaret DeVelden, Brett Donaldson, Dan Dreyer, Gene Saul 23, Ghassan Rada, Julian oh my god, sorry guys, sorry. Roman Digby, Sunshine Sherpa, Chris Shelby, Wanda Halperd, and Siva Bala. Thank you so much. Sorry for the delay. We're gonna get right to the news right now. Sorry, Jimmy, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, Jeremy Pace in the YouTube comments says that not only should you be reading the YouTube comments, but apparently you're butchering names as well.
Yeah, I really suck at this. I'm so sorry. By the way, an apology for last week's news as well. I got confused with the two family, Hindu and Muslim family. It was the Muslim family punishing the girl, not the Hindu family. As our live chats keeps growing, I'm hoping more of these mistakes will get caught and you guys pointed out, and we'll try to do better. Apologize for that. We'll try to do better going forward. But thank you so much for our new patrons. We're getting close to 100 patrons. I don't know how to thank you guys. Appreciate that. So I think we are going to be able to continue paying for our bills and everything, and all the staff and everything. Anyways, enough of that. Let's get to the news.
All right, our first news story of the day comes from Pakistan. I'm sorry, for the week, where Asia Bibi, 53 years old, a mother of 5 from Punjab, Pakistan, has been on death row since 2010. She was accused of insulting the Prophet Mohammed during an argument over a cup of water in June 2009, when she went to fetch water for her fellow farmhands while working in a field picking berries. The Muslim woman she worked with objected her drinking from the same water bowl as them, as she was a non-Muslim. Miss Bibi said the woman had insulted her religion, and she asked the Muslim woman what their Prophet Muhammad had done to save mankind. Her response prompted the other women to go to the local imam and accuse Miss Bibi of blasphemy against the Prophet Muhammad. Eisham, her daughter, watched her get beaten by a violent mob. The daughter, together with Asia's husband, is currently in the UK, courtesy of a Catholic charity, Aid to the Church in Need. She said she misses her mother, whom she has not seen for 9 years, since 2009. If the Supreme Court does not rule in her favor, she will be the first executed for blasphemy.
Well, okay, so just to give some context to people, this has been going on for some time. 9 years ago this happened, and what we're waiting for now is the hearing whether she's going to be executed or not, right? And remember, the crime that she might be executed for is simply saying, this is a Christian woman, and she simply asked, what has Muhammad done for humanity?
Yes.
Correct? It's been 9 years, but she got her first. First hearing was 8 years ago, right? So 9 years ago this happened. What happened 8 years ago? 8 years ago.
Right. This happened 9 years ago. 8 years ago, she was actually sentenced. She was convicted. Yes, she was convicted under the blasphemy laws in Pakistan.
And now she might get executed. When would we find out if she's going to get executed?
The Pakistani Supreme Court can release their ruling at any day. She did appear before a 3-panel jury. The judges started off demanding that they produce better evidence supporting these charges against her, but there are an incredibly large amount of angry Islamic extremists that organized on these streets that are demanding that these judges execute this woman for the crime of blasphemy, and they are saying that if they do not do this, that they will retaliate up to and to the point of taking the judges' lives themselves.
Yeah, I mean, so just okay. First of all, she didn't even say like fuck Muhammad or Muhammad was evil or any of that, which all of that would be fine as well. She just said, what did Muhammad do for humanity? And it was in a question format. And this is her crime that she might be executed for, correct?
This was what was reported by the Muslim woman, by her Muslim boss, yes.
Right. And just to tell you the significant, a few years back, there was a governor, right, that mentioned that we should have mercy on her, right, on this mother, right? And
yes.
And what happened to him, he didn't himself commit any quote-unquote blasphemy, right? But he just said we should have mercy on her, like we should be lenient on her. And for that crime, for being a supporter of a blasphemer, this governor's own bodyguard killed him, right? And he got arrested for killing the governor, and there were hundreds of lawyers trying to defend this bodyguard because they think he committed a great act, an honorable act for killing the person that was trying to defend the blasphemer, right? But that person got executed by Pakistan, right? And the thing is, and he became a hero. Like if you go look at the pictures of the day that he was executed and the ambulance was taking his body away, like hundreds of thousands of people came and celebrated the person that killed the government for saying that we need to be lenient on this woman, right? Imagine, like if you look at the pictures, the number of people that showed up was astronomical. Like even a lot of Pakistanis didn't know how big of a problem this is in Pakistan. Like they knew Pakistan has a problem with this kind of attitude, but this was an eye opener even to some Pakistani people. Like the place that this person has been buried is now turned into a shrine. Like this is how much they were. And I don't know, like if this woman doesn't get executed, the life of the judge that didn't pass the execution is going to be like, first of all, if they ever release this woman out of prison, like the amount of the number of people that would want to kill her is in hundreds of thousands in Pakistan. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like you would need an entire army to protect this woman. Not only her, but also the judge that didn't pass the judgment to execute her. Like I don't even know how the judge could be. Like the judge might be very biased now because he probably wants to live, right? I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah.
There's more than one judge. There were 3 judges on this panel, and it's not only the judges that are in fear for their life, but the Christian community in Pakistan as well.
Like, who's representing? Does she have a lawyer? Because I don't know how could anybody, like, who's brave enough to represent her in court?
Exactly. No, she's just appearing before that 3-panel jury. She's already appeared before it. So any trial to be done has already been done. They are just waiting to hand out the sentence.
Holy fucking Christ. Oh my God! And now the story that this article is referring to is about the daughter that just met with her mother, probably like she maybe for the last time, right? And she was talking about the emotional meeting that she had with her mother. Did you read anything about that?
About the meeting with her mother?
Yeah. So the daughter went. The mother is waiting for her hearing. And this article specifically was talking about the daughter meeting with her mother, and them having their maybe last meeting with each other. When
she was reminiscing on that and saying this might be the last time that she would see her alive again.
All right, let me see who is in the live chat. But by the way, both Facebook and YouTube live chat, if you want me to read something, make sure you tag Atheist Republic and make sure it has something to do with the news that we're talking about. So Beach tagged the Atheist Republic saying, I'm concerned that they haven't said what the final judgment is yet. The fact that that people are like, it hasn't come out yet is scary. Chrissy is saying fucking madness. Yeah, exactly. Let me see. In Facebook, people seem to be very angry on the Facebook live chat. Somebody saying this is insanity, this is tragic. It's extremely tragic, and it's also what makes it more tragic is that there's a lot of support in Pakistan for an actual execution. Like this is not like just a crazy government, and people are like, oh yeah, our government is crazy. No, this is the masses demanding justice for just the crime of asking a question. This is insane. This is why we need to insult Islam as much as possible to desensitize these people, right? This is why we do a Draw Muhammad Day. This is why we insult Muhammad as much as possible, because these people need to know, like, this is why we need to have social media, and we need to. This is fucking insane.
This is why we carry signs down the street saying Allah is gay.
Yeah. Mars is saying, I don't suppose they can get her out of the country. This is awful. Well, I mean, if she gets released, I'm hoping there's a crowdfunding or something to get her out of there. I don't know.
Most likely, it would be the same charity that got her husband and her daughter out of the country.
Oh, her husband. Okay, so their family is out of the country, right?
Yes, their family is currently in the UK.
Wait, so how many daughters does she have?
It's just her. From what I understood, it was just her one daughter and her husband that were in the UK.
So see, the family is not even safe. Like you said, the Christian community there is in danger. So you thinking that if the execution doesn't go through, they might take revenge on other Christians?
Oh yes, absolutely, and that's what the Christian community is in fear of as well. But they don't, like you said, they don't have anybody that's willing to represent them or protect them.
Right. Okay. So if she doesn't get executed, and if there's a fundraising for getting her out of Pakistan, let's try to cover it next week and put a link in the description for it.
Beach Price says, I thought she had 5 kids in total. Yes, I did read that she did have 5 kids, but I was trying to see where they had sent all 5 kids to the UK with the husband. But as far as I could read, they had only sent one daughter with her, with her husband. But if you can send me a link or anything to confirm that, I'd appreciate it.
Night of Psychosis is saying, by their own perspective, they could have explained this to her, not just demand execution for a question. It's almost like they don't understand what people converting is. Adam is saying, sorry, can you do a recap of the story? No, we can't. Well, this later on, go watch the YouTube video of this. We can't do a recap because a lot of people that are here is going to be a repeat for them. But the But you could check it out later. Anyways, let me see what Tim is saying. The top comment on Facebook from Tim saying, for a blasphemy law to be upheld, should not the offended party be required to provide evidence that their God exists in order for said God to be offended? That would be an interesting court case. So, like, okay, before we, but no, but there are some challenges to whether there are people accusing her of asking the question whether or not they have evidence that she actually did say that, right? Is that the thing that they're trying to produce as evidence for?
That is what happened at first. At first, the judges said there wasn't enough evidence, and that unless further evidence was brought up, that she would not be executed for blasphemy. But then once these violent mobs started arriving and organizing on the streets, then that's when they started to change their tone on the sentencing a little bit more.
Al is saying, when I hear stories like this, it makes me want to insult Muhammad. Sounds like he deserves it. Insult Muhammad more, just so that people get desensitized to it. Like, I mean, it works. Yep. Like, look at the Drawing Muhammad Day annual event. Drawing Muhammad used to get such a big reaction around the world from Muslims, right? Now after we turned it into an annual event, it doesn't make as much of a noise as it used to, right? So we have to desensitize people. Nathan is saying, I think it's bullshit that in 2018 a woman can be executed over something so stupid. It shows how fucking backward this world really is. Yep, pretty much. Adam in the live chat is saying, personally, I think blasphemous laws shouldn't even exist. Way too outdated for the 21st century. Yep, pretty much. I mean, sometimes I don't say these things because it seems so obvious. Like, the fact that we have blasphemy law is so fucking stupid that I don't even feel the need to say, like, oh, blasphemy laws are stupid, because I just assume everybody just knows that. But no. Anyways, should we go to the next news?
Yeah, we can go to the next news. Next news comes from the United States, where a new federal study from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention tells us that the percentage of kids under age 2 who do not have any of their vaccinations has quadrupled. That is 4 times the amount since 2001. They point to health insurance as leading to the problem, though many states also give anti-vaxxer parents a loophole so their kids can attend school without getting these vaccines. They claim religious and philosophical reasons, and those reasons are perfectly acceptable.
Wait, what's the religious reasons for not getting vaccines? I don't understand this.
Oh, you can just claim that it's against my religion, and they're not allowed to force you based on religious reasons. There are, like the Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, Church of Latter-day Saints, other Christian sects, Pentecostals. There's a lot of Christian sects that are against putting foreign things into your body that they believe are harmful.
Where is it in this Bible? Like, what's the Bible verse that they refer to? Like, I don't understand.
Right, it's just a loose reference. Some of them reference the your body is a temple, and it's just a bunch of stupid shit.
So wait, where is this again? This is U.S., right? Yes.
Yes, this is in the U.S.
See, the most advanced fucking country in the world, people are using this, and the government is accepting it as an excuse. Here's the thing. A lot of people are like, oh, it's our children, so we get to do what you want. No, you don't own your fucking children. It's not your fucking property. They have rights. They have to be protected. And if you're a shitty parent, then the government should be able to step in, I think. Like, I'm always for less government intervention as much as possible. But when it comes to human rights, government has a huge role, and government should step in. If you're not going to protect your children from illnesses, the government should step in, because you're not a responsible parents. If you say, look, it's my kids, I have to be able to do whatever you want. No, you don't. They're not your just because you gave birth to them, that doesn't mean it's your fucking property. You can't do whatever you want, right? One thing that I see, I think I'm going to see this in the comments here. Somebody's going to be like, I didn't get vaccines and I'm okay. And like, yeah, that's not how it works. You're one person. That's an anecdotal evidence. That's not a study.
Right. Well, the way that vaccines work, in order for them to be efficient, nearly all of the population has to have the vaccine. Okay, like this amount in 2001, it was only 0.3% of kids under 35 months old that did not have their vaccines. Okay, now that number is 1.3%. That's only about 100,000 kids that are younger than 2 that don't have their vaccines. Only 100,000 compared to the other 8 million children that are 2 years and under in the US. But if this trend continues, then the herd immunity that we have developed because of vaccinations, that will all go away. I mean, they don't realize that these diseases that we've been fighting back, they don't know the harm and the outcome of it and the disease and the death that it brings because vaccines have kept it away for so long.
Yeah, I think this should be a crime if you deny vaccines to your kids.
I will be the first to admit I was not educated on the subject, and I allowed some bad information to get through to me, and I was anti-vaccine for a few years. I really was, and it really bothered me that I allowed that false information to get to me. In fact, they call it the Jenny McCarthy effect. And Jenny McCarthy is one of the original anti-vaxxers, vaccine deniers. She had a big movement, a big following, which I was not a part of, but it does not excuse my own actions. But I educated myself on the subject and got past the scary stuff and researched the scary stuff to figure out if my fears were legitimate or not, and they weren't.
Well, good job on doing that. Let me see what people... Okay, look at the top comment on Facebook. Actually, somebody says, and those children are 100% more healthy. So talking about the children that didn't get unvaccinated. Again, this is on Atheist Republic's Facebook page. Just as basically, just remember, just because people are atheists, that doesn't mean they're smart or anything like that. Look, like the most top... Actually, the good thing is that the reason why it's the top comment is because most people are laughing at it, so that's actually encouraging. Because Facebook reaction also now has like laughing, so it's not just because it got more likes, it got more. So 68 people laughing at it, 15 people like it. So who this other person that I can't pronounce their name is saying, well, just watch and see if their hand washing and thoughts and prayers are going to help them when measles starts spreading and polio returns. A lot of people I don't like this because a lot of people think like, oh, well, this is the Darwinism. I guess if you're stupid enough not to vaccinate your kids, then I guess this is just you're gonna see the consequences, so it's fine. First of all, these are kids, right? They're paying the price for their parents' stupidity and they don't deserve it, right?
Right.
Second of all, this is bad for everybody. Like, it's herd immunity, isn't it? Like, it works. This is even kids that do get vaccinated are going to suffer because of kids that don't get vaccinated, right? Is that correct?
Well, if it gets to the point to where more kids are unvaccinated than they are vaccinated, then yes, these diseases will come back to a point to where, what little efficacy they have, it'll be overrun.
Let me see some people in the YouTube live chat. B just saying, wait, where it went up? Should it be a parent's responsibility to do their best to make sure their kids survive to adulthood? Is a law needed stating that? I think, I don't know how the legal wording should be, but I think when it comes to negligence, right? I mean, if you don't provide food to your children, I'm sure somebody's going to come take your kids away from you, right? If somebody, I don't know what the standards should be, but obviously something that has been beyond the reasonable doubt scientifically proven to be required for children, like vaccines. I think if that's being provided by government and you're denying that to your own children, I think that should be part of crossing the line legally. I don't know exactly what the line should be, but people with better understanding of how laws work could respond to that. Uh, so B just saying new host is Jim from. Yep, hi, Jim is our host here. Islam. Okay, the guy with the very long username starting with Islam. He's saying pig DNA in vaccines for Indonesian Muslims. What? Christians might believe there's something 666 related in the vaccines they receive. Concern 666 on financial transactions in Revelations. Oh, so some of, I think they're referring to some of the fear tactics that they use in religiously to get people not to use vaccination. So in Islamic countries like in Indonesia, they say there's pig DNA in it. And for Christians, they say there's something 666 like inside, like a, I don't know, tracking device in those vaccines. I don't know.
There's all kinds of justifications that people use for not getting vaccines.
Wow. Okay.
And they're all bad. None of them are good.
Yeah. Adam is saying, I don't know why people choose not to vaccinate their children, because maybe they are afraid or ignorant of what the benefits of vaccinations, depending on situation. A lot of people just think they don't know how proper research is done. And I think like what really needs to be happening is not people learning to how to not just look up stuff, but how to actually recognize what's a credible source versus not a credible source. Like people need to be introduced to the peer-reviewed as a academic research. How do you determine if something is peer-reviewed or not? Like I think that's the key thing that we need to teach people. The Mad Atheist is saying in Washington State, anti-vaxxers being segregated has been proposed. Oh yeah. I don't know, maybe that works. Let me see in Facebook chat, guys. If you again, if you want me to read any of your comments in Facebook chat, make sure you tag Atheist Republic and make sure it's something about the news. But I see you guys having discussion. Oh, somebody used the hashtag for Atheist Republic. So Jim is saying you would think that you should have to prove your beliefs is valid before the government can begin to respect it. I don't know what you're referring to. Are you saying that the vaccines working hasn't been proven? Is that what you're saying? I'm not sure.
Yeah, because if that was the case, I mean,
no, I think maybe he's referring to other people. I think Jim is referring to the people that the government is not accepting parents that are not vaccinating their children based on religious grounds.
Right.
And I think Jim is saying, like, why is government accepting people's beliefs when it's not being proven? But this is what religion gets you, though, right? Religion, like, you can have absurd beliefs and the government will come and say, well, this is bullshit. We're not going to respect that. But you're like, well, that's my religion. I'm like, oh, okay, now we have to respect that. This is the problem with religion, because a lot of bad ideas survive when you use the label religion on them. But Jim, go ahead. You want to say something?
No. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Okay. All right. Let's go to the next news.
The next news comes from the U.S. again, from the state of Michigan, where a pharmacist refused to provide a woman medicine to help complete her miscarriage. She was already in the process of having a miscarriage, and he refused to give her that medicine because he is a good Catholic male. Richard Kalkman was explained to by Rachel Peterson that the doctors confirmed the fetus was not viable, and he essentially called her a liar. So now Rachel and the ACLU have sent a letter to the grocery chain where he's employed. She demanded the company discipline the pharmacist and implement a company-wide policy for how pharmacists should handle religious and moral objections.
Right. So she's like, oh, I'm a good Catholic, so I'm not going to give you. What is it that he refused to give to this woman?
It's called Cytotec, misoprostol. It's a drug used to complete a miscarriage.
So go get another job if you don't want to provide this kind of service. Okay, so this is very interesting. So what do you say to people? Well, it's a private company. They should be able to refuse whatever they want.
But he does not own the company. He is it's
an employee.
It's a chain grocery store with an attached pharmacy. It's the equivalent of a Walgreens or a CVS. You know, it's called Myers Drug. I don't know if anybody's from the north, from Michigan, but Myers Drug is pretty prominent up there.
Yeah, so it's not his company. He doesn't get to do that, right? He could just get another job, right? If he
Right.
doesn't want
Well,
to do that.
and this is how ignorant he is. Even as a pharmacist, still religion clouds his mind because he believes that he is saving a fetus from abortion, when in fact,
Yeah.
misoprostol cannot induce an abortion by itself. It has to be used in conjunction with another prescription medication.
Right. Would you think if this was his own small little shop, grocery store that he owned, and he refused it, would that be okay? No, right? I mean,
No.
what do people say to this woman saying, "Well, just go to the next store. Why you have to do this? Why do
But
you have to?"
this is a woman who has already endured. I mean, assuming that she wanted this fetus, this is a woman who has already endured receiving the knowledge that she is going to have a child, and then receiving the knowledge that the fetus was not viable, meaning that she would not be able to complete her pregnancy and have this child. So she's already humiliated, likely sad, embarrassed, and having to go into this store and get some medication so she can finish passing this fetus that has already started to abort from her body. And she's being told by this man that she is a liar, so just humiliating her. It's ridiculous.
Right. But I would say, other than that, is that she shouldn't go to another store, because she shouldn't. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that she's doing this, because we shouldn't let people use their religion to do stuff like this, right? Like, she should be like, no, bullshit. You don't get to do this using religion as an excuse. Go get another fucking job, right? Like, there needs to be consequences. Like, we need to stand our ground. We shouldn't let religion be involved in decisions like this, especially if, I mean, you're working for another company. This is not the company policy. You don't get to have your own standards because of your religion, right? So I'm glad
Exactly.
I'm glad she's doing that.
And I mean, if you allow this to go on, if you don't draw a line somewhere, then people will start claiming religious freedom
right.
for everything. They will start claiming religious freedom just because they want to be racist or sexist or misogynistic or bigoted in any fashion. And it's not. This is a very, very slippery slope.
Right. So, I mean, people should be thankful to people that do this. Like, a lot of people go through these experiences and they don't talk about it. They just go and like, oh, that was a tough experience, and they go to another store, right? Or they just like, oh, but that was a asshole, I guess, But these people, when people like this actually stand up and make a decision like this, they're actually standing up for a whole bunch of other people at the same time. They're making life better for 1,000 other women that come after them. Sabrina is saying in the Facebook comment section, the top comment is, his job isn't to decide who gets what whenever he feels like it. His job is to give people what they're prescribed. If he can't manage that, then he needs to find a new profession. Exactly. Amy is saying he should be fired. Do we know if he's being fired or not? Like, was there any response from the company?
Not that I saw. I did not see any response from the company. The ACLU has filed the complaint. And to top things all off, I forgot to finish things up. But Rachel Peterson, this woman who was not given this medication, she'd already driven 3 hours to this pharmacist. She had to drive an additional three more hours to another store to find a pharmacist who would do the job and get her the medication.
Right. This man should not just be fired. He should also be sued for all the hassle she had to go through, like financially. Amy is saying he should be fired. She should file a lawsuit. Do your job, people. If your dumb beliefs are mixing with your job, get a religious job. Yeah, and I honestly think like this guy shouldn't just get fired. He should actually pay this woman for her time and emotional distress. Jeffrey is saying the vast majority of women being prescribed this drug are trying to eliminate an already dead baby. That's the point that you were bringing from their body. No one else's views or feelings matter in this instance. He's lucky. I wasn't there with my wife picking the stuff. Picking that stuff up. because we've gone through this process before. I would have made a hell of a scene. Good. Haley is saying, if you have religious objections to part of your job, you need to get a different job. Or also stop being a fucking asshole. Yep. B just saying he's not there now. Don't know if fired or quit. Pharmacists shouldn't be overriding doctors anyways. Exactly. But no, I really hope that they go after him more than just losing his job, because he needs to. I mean, if he loses his job, this woman wouldn't get all that time and all that wasted back, and all the emotional experience that she went through back. Like, he needs to, I hope she gets good representation, legal representation. Let me see if there's anything in the Facebook. Nope. Okay. Next news. Oh my God, this lady again.
Which lady? Oh, yeah. Yeah, the next news is Kat Kerr. We talked about her last week. The self-proclaimed Christian prophetess told an audience this week that she has miraculous powers. She explained that she walked on air for a brief moment when no cameras were on her.
Why is she on the news every week?
Well, just to catch people up who weren't here last week, she claimed that heaven was made of everything edible. You could fly around. You could eat Jell-O mailboxes, I believe is what she said, Armin. Jell-O mailboxes.
Yeah.
I think.
And flower copters.
Yeah, flower copters. I forgot about that one. Flower copters.
I think she's really enjoying the attention. She's the new Pat Robertson, I think. Like this, she's like she's the new source of Christian comedy, I think, for us.
Comedy, yes, most definitely.
So she walked on air when cameras were not around.
Yeah.
Isn't there wouldn't that be like witchcraft and punishable by death in Christianity?
Oh well, it's not that nobody was around. She claims that that the pastor and her mother were there, and that they were walking. The pastor was walking in front of her and her mother behind her, and that she was walking down a corridor, and there was a large step down, and she missed the step down and kept walking. And she said that before she knew it, she was walking on air, and the people behind her gasped.
Soraya pointed out that this is actually the third time she's on our news. The first time was because she ordered a hurricane to stop. I think a lot of people point that she must be the things that she says, like she seems like she's on some kind of psychedelics or something. But so I don't know. This lady. What does she have a huge following or something?
Yeah. She has a very large following. She has this was at a church in Golden, Colorado, the Mount Zion, I believe is what it's called. But yeah, they are. She does have a very large following. It's considered a pretty good sized church.
Patrick in the comment section is saying, "I turn invisible when no one is watching." Maria is saying, I'm assuming it was a powerful fart that made her leap a few feet. Mars is saying, oh, not her again. Bij is saying, maybe a jinn lifted her into the air. As awesome as it would be. Okay, Adam is saying, as awesome as it would be to walk on air, but yeah, bullshit. Maybe she was imagining it, or crazy, or lying, or high. I don't know. I think she just, every time the news not about her, she gets bored and she's like, why are people not talking about me? What can I say next? Maybe something like that. Anyways, let's see if anybody in the Facebook live chat. No, nothing. Okay, so there's a lot of comments there, but I think people are just talking to each other. Make sure if you want me to read something to tag Atheist Republic. Let's go to the next news.
The next news is from the U.S. again, from Indiana, where Dr. Don Boys, a former Indiana legislator and Barred Wire contributor, wrote recently that Brett Kavanaugh was innocent of the sexual assault of Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, because she never screamed about it. According to Deuteronomy 22:23 through 24, rape is having sex with a woman while she screams for help, according to Dr. Don Boys.
So if you don't scream, it's not rape?
According to Deuteronomy, it says that that if a woman is raped in town and she does not call for help, then it's not considered rape. But you would think that somebody, especially a Christian, would read a little bit further in their Bible. So I'm going to go ahead and do Dr. Don Boys a favor and read a couple verses farther into Deuteronomy. Wait, if you don't mind.
Before you do that, can you read actually the verses that he's referring to?
Oh yeah. Let me pull that one up.
I'm saying, if a man happens to meet in a town a virgin pledged to be married, and he sleeps with her, you shall take both of them. Well, it doesn't say anything about screaming.
Yes, yes. Keep reading.
Okay, you shall take both of them to the gate of that town and stone them to death. The young woman, because she was in a town and did not scream for help, and the man, because he violated another man's wife. You must purge the evil from among you.
Yes.
Okay, so wait, I didn't know about this verse. Holy shit. I read the Bible. I don't remember this one.
So Dr. Don Boys is saying that she never screamed about it, so Brett Kavanaugh is innocent of sexual assault.
So wait, even before you go to the next verse, if he wants to abide by these verses, so does he think that that if a woman doesn't scream, they should be stoned to death? Because that's what this verse is saying. So, like, is he agreeing with the whole verse? Like,
I mean, obviously, yeah.
Oh my God! All right.
Yeah, but if you look in that first verse in Deuteronomy 22:23, it says a betrothed virgin. So somebody's fiance that has not yet had sex. She might not have had sex yet at 15 years old when the alleged sexual assault took place, but I can guarantee you that she was not engaged. But in Deuteronomy 22:28, it does say what happens to a man who rapes a woman who is not pledged to be married. Deuteronomy 22:28. If a man happens to meet a virgin who is not pledged to be married and rapes her, and they are discovered, he shall pay her father 50 shekels of silver. He must marry the young woman, for he has violated her. He can never divorce her for as long as he lives.
All right, so let me get this straight. So if you rape somebody that is someone else's fiance and she's a virgin, right, and she doesn't scream, both of you will get stoned to death, right?
Yes, that is correct. The woman for not screaming for help, and the man for raping another man's fiance. Not because she was a woman would he get stoned, but he would get stoned because she was already another man's property.
Right. She was another man's property. So if a woman think like, okay, if I scream, this guy might like kill me or like hit me or something. So I'm just going to take this and then go report it after because I don't want to die, right? So no, that's not acceptable. You have to scream. And then, but if you rape somebody that is not someone else's property, it's not someone else's fiance, then not only you don't get killed for it, you actually can buy her out.
Yes, that is correct. You have to buy her because she is currently she is currently her father's property because she is not engaged to another man yet. So he has to buy her from the father.
Yeah, like it's basically you break it, you buy it.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's like a used it's like used property. Now you have to pay for it and take ownership for it.
Right, but we're talking about 50 shekels here. That's about 1 1/4 pound of silver. That's a good chunk of money back then.
Yeah. So basically, the message here is that if this is like a recipe for incels. If you can't find a woman, just like if the Bible applied, all you had to do is just go rape somebody, and now the law is that you have to take care and pay. Imagine the woman now that she has to live with the person that raped her for the rest of her life, right?
Right.
Let me just Fucking hell. Who is this guy? Like, how is this guy? Is he famous, or does he have a big following or something?
He's a former Indiana legislator. He has a pretty big following in a blog that he writes for. He currently writes articles for this blog called Bardwire. He's no longer in legislation in government.
Oh my goodness, this is fucking insane. So Adam is saying, what were our ancestors thinking when they wrote these damn verses? I wonder if any of them questioned the things they wrote down. I mean, the problem is that these things were common back then everywhere. The problem with religion is that it brings the standards of those times and brings it to the modern world, right? So it just makes them sticky.
It stops progression.
Yeah, it stops progression. And not that it was okay back then. It was as horrific back then as it is now. But unfortunately, back then, these things were normal. I mean, women were property back then. Marissa in the Facebook top comment is saying, if I punch him really, really hard in the balls with duct tape over his mouth, is it... Okay, let me read this again. If I punch him really, really hard in the balls with duct tape over his mouth, is it assault? If I can't hear him scream. Well, no, Marissa, unfortunately, there's not a Bible verse for that, so you're out of luck.
But I'm pretty sure that since it's a female punching a male in the balls, they'd probably take her out and stone her.
Yeah, unfortunately. Sorry, Marissa. The Bible is not very female-friendly. Lily is saying, atheists don't have morals, in quotation marks, like she's saying, like when other people say that, and she's saying, yeah, totally, like this is what Christian values are. Jackie's saying, gag him and throw him in jail when the inmates start. I'm hoping these are jokes. When the inmates start taking turns and he can't scream, we'll still consider that not rape. Well, again, unfortunately, the Bible does have different standards for men compared to women. So a lot of people are trying to say, like, let's do the same thing with him, but he doesn't think that this applies to him because he's a man. Let me see if there's any comments on YouTube. Soraya is saying, I believe this person should be locked in the prison with the gay rapists. Then we'll see if will scream for help. Well, I'm hoping you guys don't actually mean that, because I mean these things don't get solved. Like this eye for an eye is also a Bible thing, right? And it doesn't solve anything, right? And this guy's an idiot, obviously. And we should I think the solution is what we're doing right now, to point and mention how ridiculous and absurd these things are, right? Let me see if there's anything in the Facebook chat. Yep, nothing else. All right, so let's go to the next news.
The next news comes from the U.S. It's a hot topic around the world at the moment. On the 700 Club this week, Pat Robertson thinks that the death of journalist Jamal Khashoggi, who was reportedly killed, beheaded, and dismembered in a Saudi consulate in Turkey, is not worth jeopardizing a $100 billion worth of arms sales. He praised President Donald Trump's approach, who doubted the allegations against the Saudis.
Or do you want to give some background, like just a quick summary of this person that was killed in Saudi Arabia, just in case? I know most people already know the story, but just a really quick background.
Sure. So Jamal Khashoggi was a journalist. He operated out of the United States. He was brought back to. He was called up to the Turkey consulate. To the Saudi consulate in Turkey, and he was supposed to be filling out some papers for his engagement, for his future wedding. His wife was waiting outside for him, and he never came out. And days went by before we found anything out about Jamal Khashoggi up until recently. And we found out that Saudi actually flew in two separate groups of people. One full of high-ranking intelligence officials from Saudi Arabia, and another one with a forensics crew and a bone saw and a doctor who specializes in autopsies, who brags about being able to dismember a body in 7 minutes or less. And then they cleaned up the scene. President Trump said that the Saudi prince denied the allegations, and the Saudi king denied the allegations. And so, as of now, we would not be investigating until the Saudis wrapped up their investigation. So, the United States president is waiting on the Saudis to investigate what the Saudis did to a journalist.
Yeah. So first of all, is killing this journalist for criticizing Saudi Arabia. It's not just about one man. It's about the fact that this is a government that thinks this is okay. It shows the entire standards of a country and how much they respect human rights. Okay, so this goes beyond just one man. This is about what this government in Saudi Arabia thinks is okay and think they can get away with, and this is a country that you should not be dealing with if you think that that's okay. So obviously it's not just about one man. Second of all, okay, if one man is not enough, I know people in the live chat are going to get bored from me saying this because I say this all the time. Saudi Arabia is a country that is responsible for the death of hundreds of thousands of people, innocent civilians in Yemen. Is that good enough for you, Mr. Robertson, for us not to do 100 billion deals with Saudi Arabia? And guess what? This $100 billion arms sales that you're referring to went to killing those people. So if you don't care about one journalist, maybe you shouldn't do $100 billion worth of arms deal that is killing. The arms deal itself is killing thousands of more people, other people. How about not doing this arms deal because it's killing innocent people?
It's killing innocent people in Yemen all the time. Every bomb that's dropped on Yemen was bought and paid for by the United States.
Fucking hell. These are the Christians, by the way. This is the Christian values that these people, and these are exactly like the person said in the last show. These, when they say atheists have no moral. This is forget the journalists for a second here. The $100 billion deal is killing people. You fucking moron. Jesus Christ. And this is when people say Christianity introduced us to human rights. Fucking bullshit. Right. Fucking bullshit.
That's right. Yeah, because of the Saudis, there's been a 37% increase in civilian casualties, not casualties, period, in civilian casualties just in 1 year. 778 people, innocent civilians, died in 1 year because of Saudi-led coalitions in one country, in Yemen.
Nobody gave a shit. Nobody gave a shit until this journalist died. You know why? And this journalist should not have died. But you know why it was this journalist? Because this journalist was an American resident. And he was working for American companies. And he went to cocktail parties with Americans. And he was known to Americans and other international... This one person's life mattered more than hundreds of thousands of Yemenis. Because who gives a shit about Yemeni people, right? They don't even have oil. So fuck them. Right? But go on, sorry, Jim.
Adam in the comment section says, even though the death of a journalist is unjust and all of those people who have died is also unjust, but remember, Saudi Arabia is a U.S. ally. How do we deal with this? Well, Adam, I mean, you have to ask yourself, do we want an ally like Saudi Arabia? Like, yes, they are our number one customer, but what are we selling them? We are selling them innocent civilian lives.
Yeah, to answer Adam's questions, Saudi Arabia is a U.S. ally. How do we deal with this? This is how we deal with it. It needs to stop being a U.S. ally, okay? It shouldn't be a U.S. ally. The fact that a country with such a poor human rights record is a U.S. ally, it's a shame to anybody, to the U.S. government. This will not go down in history very well. This is the fact that they managed to remain a U.S. ally is embarrassing. Let me see. Steve in the Facebook comments saying, I'm pretty sure Pat actually died 7 years ago, and the evangelical right sent his body to Disney to have animators animatronics installed so they can control their base. Matt is saying Pat Robertson is worth the isn't worth the shit on the bottom of my shoe. Veronica is saying he looks more dead than he did in the last picture I saw of him. He gets deader all the time. One day someone will realize he hasn't moved in a while and they will finally get around to burying him. Okay. Let me see.
What another thing a lot of people don't know, Armin, is that about 2 months ago, Saudi Arabia cut off oil supplies to the United States because of our support for Israel. That's why our oil prices have gone up. That's why there's been a huge shock to that part of our oil economy. So with us talking about retaliation for Saudi, that's not going to help us with oil. So of course the United States government isn't going to say shit about this because they don't want to fuck up our oil more than it already is.
Yeah, I can't wait for Saudi Arabia to run out of money. That's the only thing that will solve this. This is why we need renewable energies more than ever. The mad atheist is saying Saudi Arabia is our drug dealer. That's why we have let them get away with this stuff for decades. Stop mainlining the oil. Mainlining oil. Soraya is saying true religion introduced us to human rights when people thought to explore opposite of discussing religion. Religion didn't introduce us actually to human rights. If you look at ancient history, philosophers were discussing ethics on a much more detailed and nuanced way, separate from religion, before religion claimed monopoly over ethics. Jeremy is saying, damn, I wanted to be a mod. Lucky you, Beach. Okay, guys, keep. If you're tagging Atheist Republic, make sure it's something about the news. Adam is saying, between you both and I concur with you, but I don't know how long it will take the American people or politicians to leave Saudi Arabia as an ally. As soon as they run out of money, that's when, and that's why renewable energies are key here. Will is saying if the U.S. would get out of the Middle East, we wouldn't need allies like Saudi Arabia. Well, I don't think they need to get out of Middle East. I think if they want to be in the Middle East, they should be an advocate for human rights. Right now, they're not.
Yes.
Jeremy's saying sorry. That's fine. Let me see if there's anything. I think somebody mentioned that I missed their tagging Atheist Republic. Sorry, Jeff. I can't read it right now because it was about previous news. Sorry for missing any tags that I should have read. Sorry about that. I'll try to be more careful, not missing any comments. Anyways, let's go to the next news.
Next news, 16 men have been jailed for a total of more than 200 years as a part of a grooming gang who abused 15 girls in and around Huddersfield between 2004 and 2011. Earlier this year, the group's ringleader, Amir Singh Dhaliwal, was jailed for life. These victims are teenage girls aged 11 and 17. The men, 11 through 17, I'm sorry. The men groomed and exploited them for their own sexual gratification.
Where was this?
Awful. In Huddersfield.
16 men. You mean 16 Muslim men, right?
No, yes. There were 16 men who were jailed. It was a grooming gang. So yes, I'm assuming they were all Muslim. Their mug shots definitely look that way.
Wait, sorry, where was this again? You say it one more time. This was in UK.
Yes, in Huddersfield. I forget the name of the area.
Does it say in the article Muslim men, or does it tiptoe around that?
It definitely tiptoes around that. I mean, you're looking at an article, from the UK, so they're definitely tiptoeing around that.
Does it say Asian men?
Nope, it doesn't even say that.
Okay, so probably Pakistani, probably Muslim. Definitely Muslim. And the victims
Yes.
are all white girls, right?
Yes, these are all teenage girls between 11 and 17.
Fucking hell. 11. Holy fuck.
Yep.
Um,
Yes, he was jailed for life. He'll be serving at least 18 years in prison.
Holy fucking hell.
And that's ridiculous. 18 years in prison when he was convicted of 54 different charges, 22 of those being rape.
Yeah, so this has been a huge problem in the UK, especially because these people managed to get away with it for a very, very long time. I think most people know this, right? And the reason why these people managed to get away with it for a very long time is because the police were afraid of approaching these people for the fear of being accused of racism or bigotry, right? I mean, if these people were white, this would have been stopped way earlier, right? And the fact that these news articles don't even mention that they're Muslim shows that they're not even addressing the problem, you know?
All of these, they do list their names, and their names are definitely either Pakistani. Let's see, they're Ahmed, Hassan, Kamer, Aslam, Riman, Barsran, Mohammed, Akhtar, Mahmoud, Hussein. So it's.
So the reason why these girls got raped and these people didn't fear of being arrested and stuff for so long, the same force behind these people being able to get away with it for so long is what is making this newspaper not mention that these people were Muslim. So these news articles are basically not even are basically encouraging the same attitude that we have when it comes to addressing the problem here. And they're making like, if they were brave enough and they would wanted to encourage this not happening, they would mention it. They would mention like these were Muslims, and this has definitely to do something with Islam. It's not just, first of all, most of these people are Pakistani. And when people say, well, it's culture, it's not religion, Pakistan has no fucking culture. Pakistan's culture is Islam, okay? So it's definitely Islam. And the fact that they go after white girls is not an accident either. The reason why they go after white girls and Hindu girls is because they're not Muslim. And this is the religious reason behind it, because they think that they don't have no right over Muslim girls, right? They think white girls are often not Muslim, and they feel safe religiously to be. They think they're slave girls. They have every right to them because they're not Muslim, right? This is the motivation and the justification these people have for what they do is definitely religious. And the fact that so many news articles from the UK doesn't address this, they are responsible for these things continuing.
That's right. For those who don't know what these grooming gangs are, these are gangs that go out in the streets with the sole purpose of befriending these young girls and making them believe that they are their friends or even their boyfriends, and then they will exploit them sexually themselves and to other members of the gang, and then draw in the young girl's friends and everything with the belief that they will bring them to another boyfriend or whatever, and they'll give them gifts for a short while or whatever, and essentially prostitute them out.
Right. Let me see what the top comment is. Locked him in a big oven and burned him alive. Well, no, don't do that. I know, as much as horrific these things are, like, again, I don't want the punishments to be biblical. Tony is saying, great work. Maybe the police can focus on the biggest pedophile ring in the country now, Catholic priests. I hope the motivation behind what Tony is saying is not to take attention away from Islam to Christianity, right? Like, I hope that's not the motivation. But I agree that the Catholic priest needs to be cracked down on as well. But I'm hoping that when people say, like, oh, okay, grooming gags, yes, what about the Catholic Church? I hope that's, I hope this is not an attempt at whataboutism. Benjamin is saying, yes, their crimes are abhorrent, but that doesn't excuse all of your bigotry. Chris, somebody in the so they're referring to the comment section. For a start, they're all male. Would you like to be tarred with that brush, as you're also male, or do you pick and choose which characteristics you'll discriminate against? Let them be jailed for their crimes and not for the color of their skin, their place of origin, or their religious belief. Okay, this is fucking bullshit, Benjamin. First of all, men are more likely to rape than women, and that's a fact. Do you think that's now sexist to say that, Benjamin? So if you think that we can't address the fact that this is because of because their Islam had a role in this. Here, you think I'm scared of saying the fact that their male had also have a role in this? Yeah, their male are more likely to be violent, and male are more likely to rape. Obviously, they're not the only ones that rape, but they're more likely. I have no fear of saying that. I would admit that male are more likely to rape. There you go. So now that I said that, will Benjamin, will your response to me be accepting that the fact that Islam had to do with this? Islam and fucking hell, these people just want to deny facts. So his Benjamin's point is that why are you picking and choosing? So they should be punished, but why are you pointing out their religion? Well, because their religion had an impact here. The color of their skin. Well, okay, the color of their skin had nothing to do with it. But the fact that they were from Pakistan has something to do with it. Because that's where they got their religion from. Because if you're from Pakistan, you're more likely to be Muslim. And you're more likely to have this kind of attitude towards women.
And if you're from Pakistan and Christian, you're more likely to be sentenced to death for blasphemy.
Right. No, I mean, there is this guy, I don't understand. So do you think, why are we pointing out their religious beliefs? He thinks he got us by saying us, well, they're also male. Why are you not pointing that out? I'll point that as well. Men are more likely to rape. There you go. So now you have to give us that their religious beliefs has an impact on this. Yeah, go on.
I don't know. That's just ridiculous that's what he would jump on instead of calling out the offense itself and the horrendous acts of that. He would act like we're somehow trying to promote rape culture by not saying that they're men. That's so dumb.
James is saying Tommy Robinson has been telling you all this for 10 years. I know he has. Tom is saying execution is the only solution. Not really. Carlton is saying good. Now if they would start dishing out the same justice to white men. Oh my fucking god, these people are on their whataboutism. Okay, Carlton said like same justice for white men. Do you know that Pakistani Muslims in UK, I don't know what the numbers are, but the exact numbers are. But if you look at I should bring up the numbers. But they are a small minority in the UK. Can I bring up the numbers? But the percentage of rape that they're responsible for is astronomically higher than the rest of the population, even though they're a minority. We should have this number ready next time for news like this. Let's see, Pakistani population. Oh, actually, okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a reference to the source for this. I think Quilliam had a study on this. Quilliam is the source of the study, and they did a study on this, and they cracked the numbers. Quilliam by Majid Nawaz. And Pakistani Muslims are, even though they're a small percentage of the population, they are responsible for most of the rapes in the UK. So, this guy is saying, Colton is saying, can you start dishing out the same justice to white men? Okay, Colton, do you think that's not been the case? Do you think if white men in UK haven't been punished for similar crimes? Because they have, in fact, more than these people. These were the people that the police were too scared to go arrest. If they were white, they would have been stopped a lot earlier. I don't know what this guy is referring. These guys think that this is pure virtue signaling. Okay, Colton, you're not a racist. Congratulations. Jesus.
You're trying way too hard, Colton.
You are trying, yeah. Vittore is, I don't know how to say. He's saying Muslims from Pakistan, it's a big problem in the UK that the police are starting to address now, that the public is more informed about. I think the fact that the police is addressing this now is not enough. I think the police that have the fear culture that has existed in the police environment, whoever is responsible for creating that fear, they need to be punished as well, because they are responsible for more girls being raped. But that's not going to happen because the UK is actually going the other way, unfortunately. Todd is saying,
right.
Yeah, Todd is saying, it's just me, or do they look a little Muslim-y? They don't look a little bit Muslim-y, they are Muslim. Piotr is saying should be 221 each. Yeah, I can't believe, like, how much are they getting each?
Well, it was 221 combined.
That doesn't seem like enough.
No, it's not, and some of them are being let off with just months of incarceration.
Are you serious? Holy fuck.
Yes. You know, you were talking about that research about Pakistani Muslims. When I was researching this article, I actually did a research on Pakistani immigrants from Pakistani Kashmir in the UK, and they are responsible for over 30% of the genetic birth defects in the UK, even though they're less than 3% of the UK's population, because of the huge rise in incest and these first cousin marriages in this community.
Did you see the Quilliam research showing you the numbers regarding these grooming gangs? Because I want to get that number on, because that was really, Quilliam, is that how you pronounce Quilliam research grooming gang UK? Let me see if I could get those numbers up. Oh my god, I don't even know how to spell Quilliam. Quilliam. Okay, I'm going to say Quilliam Majid Nawaz. Do you want to help me figure this out? Because this is important. Quilliam. Okay.
Quilliam.
No, I found Quilliam. I just need to figure out this number. Okay, so British. Okay, there we go. Here are the numbers. We should link this in the description. British Pakistani researchers say, and again, this research is done by Pakistani researchers in UK. So this is not the evil white man colonialist master telling you like, oh, brown people are bad. Okay, Pakistani researchers say, you want your identity politics? There you go. Okay, researchers say 84% of grooming gang members are, oh, for fuck's sake, independent. Okay, so the actual research shows that they're Pakistani, but the independent instead of Pakistani is saying Asian. What the fuck?
Asian. Wow, how dishonest.
Even when they're referring to the research, they're saying Asians instead of, oh my god. It's very important we talk about this. Well, independent, you're not fucking talk about this. Oh, Jesus Christ. Let me see. Asian. Even when they're talking about it, they're not. Let me see if I could get a better article. Grooming gangs here, 84%. Jesus Christ.
84%.
Yeah. Press release, no claim on grooming gangs. Even when they want to be honest about it, they can't completely talk about it. Here, let me see. 84. The report finds that 84% of grooming gang offenders were South Asian. So there you go, South Asian, Pakistani.
Whoa, we're getting closer.
You're getting closer. While they only make up 7% of the total UK's population. Okay?
7%.
Yeah, so the grooming gangs offenders, 84%, South Asian. And when South Asian, we're not talking about India, okay? We're talking Pakistan, right? Even though they're only 7% of total UK's population. So there you go. That's the stats. We will link to it in the description once this is over. So Miko is saying ringleader gets life, but apparently only has to serve 18 years. What? How does that work? So even the guy that is getting life, they only have to serve 18 years of it?
Yes, that is correct.
So how does it make it life then?
That's what they're saying, that is the minimum that he will serve, but they gave him a what's called a life sentence, and like a life sentence in the U.S. is like 20 years, 30 years. So when they say life, they're not meaning life. Unfortunately.
Okay. That's crazy. Chris is asking in the Facebook comment section, and what do they have in common? They're Muslim. That's what they have in common. Let me see if anybody in the YouTube live chat is saying anything. Okay. What is the group called? A Quran gang. Yeah, that's what they should be called. Adam is saying, I think these stories are just terrible, and when the police are rightfully or wrongfully afraid of a side thing like racism, when people who were children get taken advantage of. Okay, I think that, okay, I don't know what I think that sentence was never finished. The mad atheist is saying willful ignorance of religious atrocities in the name of opposing bigotry. That's exactly right. Soraya is saying Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, etc. are part of Asia, so they get away with this every fucking time. Also, when they say Asia instead of like, are they talking about like were these grouping gangs Japanese? I mean, come on, Jesus Christ! What I hate is that the press release for Qualum specifically mentioned that they are South Asian, right? So South Asian. Let me see. South Asian.
I mean, are they looking at these guys' driver's license or their 23andMe results?
Right. No, so South Asia includes India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and around there, right? But we all know it's Pakistan, right? Let me see if Quillim actually mentions Islam or Muslim. Oh, yeah, actually here. So Quillim itself says the report found the grooming gang offenders were South Asian, while they only make up 7% of the total population of UK population, and the majority of these offenders are of Pakistani origin. Oh, thank you. With Muslim heritage. This is what the research shows.
Boom.
Right? But the independent title, referring to this research, an article that says we need to talk about this is what their title is. British Pakistani researchers say 84% of grooming gang members are Asian. Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm hoping at least within the article, it does mention Muslim. No. Even in the article that they wrote that's saying that we need to talk about this, in the article, it doesn't mention Muslim. Let me see if they mention Islam. No mention of Islam.
Nope.
Let me
just
see
Asian.
Just Pakistan. Oh, Jesus. So they mention when the only reference to Pakistan is about the people. Okay, when it comes to Asian men or Pakistani men, they tend to do it in groups. Okay, in the article, it does mention Pakistani. At least they mention that, but no mention of Islam or no mention of Muslims. This is tiptoeing around people's sensibilities. All right, and I know why they put British Pakistan. I know why in their title they put British Pakistani researchers, because they were like, "Hey, it's not. We're not saying this, okay? This is Pakistani researchers are saying this, okay? Please don't accuse the independent of bigotry. Okay? It's not us. It's other Pakistanis are saying this about other Pakistanis. Please don't accuse us of bigotry, okay?" Anyways, this is insane. Let me see if anybody else in the all right, let's go to the next news.
The next news comes from the United States again, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where at a church gathering of the Catholic bishops earlier this month, Archbishop Charles Chaput made it clear that he had a problem with any reference to LGBTQ Catholics. He said Catholics should stop using that term because such groups do not exist.
Okay. Okay. What about child molesting Catholic? Catholic. Like,
Well,
has this
yeah,
guy ever came out and say like, hey, like child molesting Catholic, that does not exist? Do not say that. Has he ever said that, or is this LGBT that triggers this guy?
exactly. Well, a couple of years ago, he said that not only are they not a group, but gay people should not be able to receive communion in his church or in church, period, because it's that they're living in sin according to Catholicism. But and like you said, but he never says that that pedophiles or child molesters should not take
Just
communion.
say child molesters only, not pedophiles. But I don't understand. Didn't Jesus say like how love the sinner, all that nonsense? Spend more time with sinners than anyone else. Like, how's that? Like, not letting sinners in your church? Isn't that whole point of Christianity, reaching out to sinners?
That's the modernized approach. Yes, there's a lot of debate as to whether that's how Jesus felt or not, because he went into the temples and flipped the tables when the people
Right.
weren't preaching the way that they were supposed to, and then he also said, do not think that I've come to bring peace. I've not come to bring peace, but a sword. He came not to not to change the law, but to enforce it.
Yeah, the law that included stoning gay people. Yeah, I think like a lot of non-Christians make excuses for Jesus. They say like, "Oh, Christians are bad, but Jesus was a hippie guy. He was cool. I wish more Christians would listen to him." No, Jesus was fucking insane. Like the character of Jesus, I don't know, but whatever the real person, if there was any real person, how he was. But the character of Jesus in the Bible was a guy that went to a fucking tree, and when the tree didn't have fruits for it, he cursed the fucking tree, right?
Right. At a time of the year, it was a fig tree, and he cursed it at the time of the year that figs don't even grow.
Right. So and the tree was cursed and never had fruits ever again. You fucking idiot. And yeah, he said that you should hate your family and all that. Yeah, he was insane.
Well, and he wasn't even a good guy. Whenever he met a Gentile woman, somebody who was non-Jewish, Jesus referred to her as a dog. I mean,
actually, Joseph in the Facebook chat is saying something that I kind of agree with, because Joseph's saying, "Cool, nice story, bro. I would probably agree with you. No one wants to be in that shitty organization anyway." So actually, I agree with this Archbishop saying that there is no such thing as LGBT Catholic, not because there is anything wrong with LGBTQ Catholic, but because of the Catholic part. Like religion is anti-gay, right? So let's.
But that.
Yeah,
but that's like saying that that black Christians isn't a group, because I mean
black Christians, you could have LGBT pro Christians, right? People basically that ignore their religion, right? And people that are better than in their own religion, people that are Christian but ignore a whole bunch lots of it. But Christianity cannot never be gay friendly. Do you know what I mean? Even though Christians can be gay friendly, right?
Right.
So I mean, as long as Christianity has anything to do with the Bible, then Christianity or the Catholic religion can never be pro LGBTQ. With the fact that Christians individually decide to be pro LGBTQ is because these are people that are better than their own scripture, right? So
that's right.
I think we have to differentiate between talking about people and talking about religion or an entire organization.
Right. But aren't you saying that it would be impossible for an LGBTQ Catholic to be an actual person or an actual title because Catholicism is not inclusive of the LGBTQ community?
No, I'm not saying that. I think it should be. There's no such thing as LGBTQ Catholic doctrine.
Right? Okay, I see.
So I think a Catholic can be LGBTQ friendly because they're ignoring their religion which is a good thing to ignore your religion. Which is yeah.
They can be LGBTQ friendly, but can a Catholic be gay?
Yeah, they can be gay.
So can you be a gay Catholic?
Yeah, you can. But that's what I'm saying. You have to the difference between people and religion. When you're talking about people, the thing is that people have a lot of competing ideas in their head, right? Obviously, you can be gay and Muslim or gay and Christian. It's just obviously you can be, yeah.
Right, but wouldn't you be able to start a group of like-minded people, whether they be gay or not, and just call it gay Catholics?
Yeah, you can call it gay Catholics, but you can't say Catholicism is gay friendly.
Okay, I see what you're saying now. So you're saying that it's doctrine dependent.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, you can start any group. I'm just saying that as if you say, "Hey, we're Catholics and we're gay friendly," I would like, "Okay, great. Thank you for being gay friendly and being pro gay rights." But if you say, "Yeah, and Christianity or the Catholic doctrine is also pro, gay friendly," I like, "Oh no, you're wrong there." You know what I mean? That's where I draw the line, right? I think you guys are gay friendly. The religion is not gay friendly. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
All right. Let me see if anybody in the live chat. The Mad Gaytheist is saying this could be a good thing. Tell all current gay Catholics to stand up and leave. God and religion hating you is a good reason to leave it. Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Or you don't even have to be gay. Just, I mean, if you find it repulsive that a religion would hate somebody specifically for what they do in the privacy of their own bedroom, then leave it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people say like, "Oh, I can't believe how gay people can be religious or how women could be religious when religion is so anti-gay or anti-woman." I always respond, "I can't believe how any person could be religious when religion is so anti-human." Anyways, let's go to, I think the last two news are good news, which we need good news more.
Yes, they are. They are a bunch of, I want to see nothing but happy comments in the comments section. Physicist Stephen Hawking says in no uncertain terms in his newly released book, "There is no God. No one directs the universe." This was regarding a question about God's existence. He was clear that he did not exist, and he added that when we die, we return to dust. And for those who may not know, when Stephen Hawking died, there were a lot of people who claimed that he was not an atheist and wasn't even an agnostic. He believed in some sort of a cosmological deity.
Well, he didn't believe in any.
No, he did not.
He's a long time ago. He used the word God just as a poetic way, and some people were like, "Oh, look, Stephen Hawking believes in God," and I'm glad that he saw that was causing problems, and he clarified. He came out multiple times like, first he said in a documentary, "There's probably no God," and now, after his death, now his book came out, which I mean. Now he said, "No, okay, there is no God. Like, can be no more clear than that." I mean, Einstein had the same problem. Einstein, at some point, used the word God in poetic ways, right? Like, God does not play dice and stuff. And then people thought that he was a believer. And no matter how many times he clarified, like, "Hey, I don't believe in a personal God, people. Like, that was just me describing scientific shit in a poetic way." He even had a letter, his God letter came out that he doesn't believe in a God, right?
Right.
But just using that word was enough for a lot of theist believers to claim him, right? So I'm glad, both Einstein did that, and I'm glad Hawkins. And here's the thing: the fact that he said this was the smartest known person living at our time, right? And
yes.
The fact that somebody so smart and so concerned about humanity and where we're heading mentioned that there is no God in his final book shows you that how much he thought this was an important point to make and how much it's important to bring this up for humanity. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people think, this God, religion stuff, it's not that important, we're making advances. He thought that he needs to make this clear. he thought that he needs to leave us, the rest of us, with the fact that he doesn't think there is a God, right? And I'm
That's
really
right.
glad that he did that. I really appreciate with he did that. Like every fucking hour that this guy was alive was a blessing to humanity. And I'm glad that this was part of, like, he did so much, he gave us so much knowledge and scientific understanding of our universe. And
Right.
even when it came to religion, he made sure that he leaves us with this. And this is
Right.
gonna make this by itself is gonna make a lot of people, question their views. And I really wish I could thank him for that, but he's not with us anymore. But
Right.
we were lucky for having him while we had. But go on.
Yeah, he definitely contributed some great things to humanity, and I have a feeling that this book that's been published, posthumously, is going to be another great one. For those who are looking to check it out, it's called Brief Answers to the Big Questions. They talk about things like how did Earth begin? Will we survive on Earth? Is there a God? And that was actually the very first question in the book. It said, "Is there a God?" And he said that in the book that he did not want to give the impression that his work is about proving or disproving the existence of God, and that we are each free to believe what we want, but that it is his view that the simplest explanation is that there is no God, no one created the universe, and no one directs our fate.
Yeah, and I hope that gives a lot of people a lot of pause. But I don't. I always hear people do say that I think everyone's free to believe what they want. I don't know if that's a. I don't never understand that point, because obviously giving voice to your opinion doesn't force anybody to accept your opinion. I don't even understand why that point is made. Like, imagine if you ask me, like, Armin, what's your favorite restaurant? And I tell you, well, I don't want to force anybody to go to this restaurant, but in my opinion, this is a really good restaurant. Like, okay, I just asked for your opinion on the restaurant. Obviously, if you give me your opinion on what the best restaurant in the city is, it's not going to force me for it to be my favorite restaurant. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, just telling people what you believe in and what you think is fact is not going to force anybody, right? It's just me giving them an opportunity to reconsider. And the fact that somebody with such status and such much respect felt the need to say that, hey, I don't want to. I think everybody is free to believe what they want, and I don't want to force anybody when it comes to religion. I mean, I don't think like he felt the need to say that about anything else. That was his opinion, right? Shows you how much of a barrier it is for us still to talk about religious beliefs. Like no other set of ideas enjoys that much protection.
Right. Even politics, I grew up in a household where there were three things that we didn't talk about. We didn't talk about religion, politics, or sex. And it was because I found out later, as most do, that those are the three topics that make parents the most uncomfortable talking about with their kids, because either A, they don't know how to talk about them, or B, they don't know what to talk about them. And so I think it's really important that we talk about these important subjects, not just with our kids, but with each other, because if we don't, all we do is just spread bad ideas inside of our little box with other little boxes without considering that maybe there's something bigger on the outside.
Right. Theo Mikey in the live chat is saying, Armin, I like In-N-Out burger, and no, you're not free not to like it. Okay. That's fine. All right, let me see. Some person is pointing out in the Facebook comment section that CNN actually posted this, and you should have seen the comment section. Oh, I want to go check that out at some point. All right. Let me see the Facebook live chat, if there's anybody mentioning. All right, let's go to the last news.
The last news comes from Australia, where Scott Morrison, the Prime Minister, has promised to ban religious schools from discriminating against gay students. Some Australian states allow schools to turn away gay students, and this issue has been a huge debate in Australia after recommendations of a report on religious freedom were leaked.
I mean, this is great news, but I'm surprised that this was okay until now in Australia. Like
This is
yeah,
amazing news.
okay, so this is specifically about religious schools, right? But did the religious schools had like some sort of exemption? And I mean, Australia has been going the right way for on many issues, except I guess immigration. But when it comes to religion, they've been cracking down on religion. I mean, this is the country where the priests are getting arrested all the time for their child molestation and stuff. So this is great.
Right.
So what is how does it work in Australia? Like until now, religious schools were able to get away with rejecting gay students, but other schools weren't, or any school was able to get away with that.
Right. So in Australia, they have what's considered state schools and non-state schools, and these non-state schools are often religious schools. So they already had an amendment passed that prohibited discrimination against gay students in state schools, but they haven't had anything to do with the religious schools. So this was commissioned um, to address the problem in non-state schools. So nothing has been done yet. There is a by-election coming up, kind of like a U.S. midterms, that they think this might be a part of. But they are
midterms. How does this relate it to Australia?
no, that they're having what's called a by-election coming up, which is the equivalent of the midterms.
Okay.
Over there, and so they're saying that this is kind of like a running point or a platform topic that they're trying to extort votes from.
Well, that's a good thing. You should. I mean, that means there's a lot of popular demand from stopping this, right?
Right.
Theo Mackey is saying, I think it's good news, but I think it'd be better to open and fund more secular schools. Yeah, why do we even have so much religious schools? There needs to be competition against these religious schools so people don't feel they need to send their kids to religious. I mean, the fact that we have religious schools is already fucking insane, right? Joel is saying,
right.
I always find... Yeah, go on, sorry.
I was just going to add that in these schools, it's been a big problem lately that teachers are being fired for being gay at these non-state schools.
Oh, okay. Let me see. Joel is saying, I always find it amusing when the words religious and freedom are used together. Such an oxymoron. Jeremy is saying, yep, except the PM had to do a massive black flip to get to this scenario. The PM who brought coal into government. Australia is currently far from a beacon of reason. Okay, so there's some backstory to this, I guess. Cheryl is saying, don't fall for BS statements during pre-election time from a happy clapper PM who speak in tongues. A government that initiated a multi-million-dollar freedom of religion inquiry, wasted tens of millions of dollars on same-sex marriage survey, challenge. Okay, this is a huge list. So there's some Australians, I think, in the comment section that don't like this guy and think that this is just a PR move.
Right. Yeah. Well, the election is today.
Oh.
So that's why this is such a hot debate, because this was only 5 or 6 days ago. This was at the beginning of the week, Monday, I believe.
Wait, so this government, they're saying they wasted tens of millions of challenge millions of away from public schools to religious private schools, and has implemented more religious privilege and fascist laws and policies in 5 years than we've seen in the past 50 years. Okay, somebody in the comment section from Australia, please correct us about what's going on here. Is this? But okay, so even if all this is just for show, okay,
right.
What I say is that the fact that the politicians there think that this is a move, that this is a PR move that works. Even if we don't like the politicians, the fact that this is something that works in Australia, that is a good thing. You know what I mean? The fact that the public, I'm hoping if that this is just a PR move, people can see the bullshit behind it. But I think that the fact that there's popular demand for banning gay exclusions in religious schools, the fact that there's a popular demand for that, that's a good thing. Do you know what I mean?
Right,
Right.
right. Yeah, there are currently laws in place that allow these religious schools to discriminate based on religious reasoning. So what they're going to do is not necessarily implement new legislation, but take away or amend the legislation that gives them the ability to discriminate.
Do you know if these religious schools are private or public in Australia? Do you know?
These non-state schools are considered private schools, meaning they're non-state funded, but they still have to adhere to discrimination laws.
Right. So some people might say that, oh, these are private schools, they should be able to not include whoever they want. Well, unless there's discrimination laws, right? So
Exactly.
so they need to adhere to the anti-discrimination laws, even if they're a private company.
Right. This law that exists is called the Federal Sex Discrimination Act, and it says that religious schools may discriminate in relation to students on the basis of sexual orientation, gender identity, or relationship status. So they can deny a student access to their schools for any of those reasons.
Theo Mikey is saying religious reasoning, lots of oxymorons today. The mad atheist is saying they and we just need to stop government funding for religious schools. Bigotry should have consequences. Well, I mean, these are private schools, but I think we shouldn't just stop government funding for religious schools. We should stop all kinds of funding for religious schools. By the way, I think I noticed something. I think Christy is celebrating 11 years of gay love with her partner today. So congratulations, Christy.
Congratulations, Christy. That's
11-year anniversary. Congratulations.
Tell your girlfriend we say congratulations as well.
Yeah, and that's nice. That's happy news. All right, I think that's a great way to stop the news. That's a great ending. Let me just thank everybody in the live chat, both in the Facebook live chat, David, Cheryl, Lewis, Malik, who else? Everybody else and Terry. Some person that I can't pronounce, Simon, and in the YouTube live chat, let's see who we have. We have Casey, Rosen, Beach, Soraya, Mars, Christy, the Mad Gatheus, Adam, Conspel, Gage, I think, Theo Mikey, Mars. Mike says, live long and prosper. Thank you, Mars. The Mad Gatheus is saying, Adam is saying, enjoyed to be here. I'll try to keep up with this. Thank you, Adam. It's great to have you. Christy is saying, we're celebrating 11 years together, Stacy and I, today. Wouldn't have missed Atheist Republic for nothing. Oh, my God. Today is a celebration. Christy still came. Thank you so much, Christy. That's such an honor. Well, congratulations to both of you. No better place for news stories on Saturday night. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. Well, Christy, you're part of making it so great. Theo Mikey is saying, hope you and your wife are safe. Armin, thank you, Theo. Theo Mikey. Jet. Oh, and Jet. Oken is saying, "Wood, great show." The Mad Gathian, thanks, Armin. Thanks, Armin. And also thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim, for being here. By the way, Jim, thank you so much for reading all this news before here and making sure we're trying to get the accurate version. Sorry, sometimes we get it wrong. But without Jim, none of this would be happening. And thank you to Anna behind the scenes. She prepares all the summaries and stuff. So thank you, Anna, as well. And BJ saying thank you, Armin, Jim, and everyone. All right, guys, and thank you for correcting us. Thank you for disagreeing with us, and see you again next